It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
This is the Cosmick Voice. Cosmick Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Cosmick Voice. This is Season 7, Episode 22. I am here with my co-host, Chris, non-wearing bandana, Natalini.
That's because the power is in my hair, not my bandana.
And I am Mick Michaels. Welcome back, everyone, to another super-powered show. Chris, how are you?
I'm doing awesome, dude. How about yourself?
I am good. I, too, do not need a bandana for superpowers.
No, not like Mr. Michaels.
No, Mr. Michaels, that's a special bandana that he got from Zeus himself. And it does more than just hide a bad hairline.
But it must work. I mean, because Brett's a badass. There are a lot of people that don't like him, but I am a huge fan, and I guess that bandana's doing something, because he's badass, man.
It must, because he's got the Brett Michaels acoustic guitar, right, for $1,500 bucks.
Right, dude. That's right. He sells his hats after his gigs. He sells them for charity.
Do you know who makes his guitars? Is it Daisy or something like that? I don't know.
Oh, no, man, I don't know. I don't know.
Is it a brand name? I'm not even sure. I guess Brett Michaels is a brand name, so it doesn't matter who makes it.
Yeah. I'm not really sure. I was watching this old, when he was on TV. I guess he was house hunting, like celebrity house hunt or whatever, where, these celebrities go to like 3 different homes and they want to buy them, but, they're not really buying them. They're just getting on the show for publicity and the whole nine. So, they show his house in, the deserts of Arizona, and he walks in the living room and, there's guitars on the wall, and there's this huge picture of him. It's an old one, no shirt, jeans are like unbuttoned. I'm just like, who has it in their living room? And then he goes, I don't have this. His fiance or girls, whatever. He's like, she put it here. I don't put a big picture of myself in my living room. And I'm thinking, yeah, you do.
Yeah, you do.
Because then he opens up his office and there's pictures and gold records everywhere.
Listen, that's the thing, right? I mean, I can't fault them for that, because my studio has, a lot of the big shows that I did, or the autographs and stuff like that. I don't have pictures of myself, per se. Like, I mean, there are some shots that I've received as gifts from some of our performances that some photographers have done. Yeah. And, I mean, they're kind of cool, but it's not just me posing.
I'm like,
I don't, listen, that's something I just don't want to see. I mean, it's like, okay, if I can not put my face on something, then that's a plus. I mean, for me, you know what I mean? Just keep the logo up or something. I don't know.
I get it. I'm like, come on, man. You know that's there. You stand there and look at it. Whatever, I don't care. Like, it doesn't. Whatever. It's just, it was weird to me that.
Yeah, you walk into a room and you go, I have arrived. I guess it's something, because he's not the only guy. I mean, there's plenty of people.
Man, I don't blame anybody. I mean, if you have a living room and you want to put some promotional picture in your living room of yourself, I don't. Who cares? That don't affect me at all. Whatever. I just thought it was really funny. Although I have been seeing, at the time of recording this, and it's funny because you and I spoke in our last episode about how kind of we're kind of backlogged in these episodes. But at the time of recording this, Brett Michaels just recently did an interview. It's been making the rounds where he did say that the original Poison is getting back together, and they're doing the 40th anniversary tour next year. Well, first of all, what irritates me is it's because it's the internet, so it irritates me. So many people on the internet are like, oh, the original member, so does that mean they're going to get, what was his name, Ricky something, they're going to get the original guitar player back? I'm like, bro, just stop it. Like, who really?
Right. We're talking about the signed album guys. You know what I mean?
Right.
People just like.
There's a few of them, and then somebody was like, "Oh my God, is he going to be able to do longer than an hour?" Because the past couple of years he's been doing these party girl tours, and he played. Well, he's on stage not an hour, but his band plays for over an hour because he has Dee Snider and Lou Gramm. He has like all these people, and then he walks off, and then comes back on and does a couple of hits, and then walks back off. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good point.
Wait a minute, is it a headlining tour, or are they just jumping on another stadium tour with everybody else?
Oh, that's a good question, Mick. I don't know. I assumed it was a headlining tour, but you know what? You're right. Maybe they're going to jump on a stadium tour like Motley and the Def Leppard thing they did. Oh, I don't know. That's a good question.
Maybe they'll do a little bit of both. I don't know. I thought I read somewhere where there was a possibility of a new album too, new music for them.
Oh, that would be. I didn't see that, but that would be amazing.
Well, because I know. Okay, I mean, Ricky Rocket seems to be saying a lot of things. Like he's ready to go. Their new music. Maybe that's what I read. I read some of his stuff, and maybe that was just projection. I don't know.
I think they play this game, right? I think Brett and Ricky play this game because a number of years ago, before they did that Motley Crue arena tour, Brett was in the press going, 4 of us are going to get back together. We're going to play over the summer. And then they interviewed Ricky Rocket, and he was like, I haven't talked to Brett we've never talked about this. Like, I don't know where he's coming up with this. So I guess Brett was almost like kind of pushed it into existence, if that makes sense. Like he kept saying, like even in his solo shows, he'd be like, I'll see you next summer with the Poison. And he was like kind of putting this out there. And I guess he put the guys in a position where they were like, well, if we don't do it, then we're going to look bad. So let's just do it. Right. And then Ricky Rocket started to do it. Right, like he would be in the press going, "Yeah, we're going to make new music and we're going to get together." So I'm wondering if it's like a thing where they like push each other to do it. Because one guy says it, well, now I'm going to be the ass that goes no, 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 and I don't want to be that guy, so we'll do it. I don't know. It's just funny how I see Brett say these things, I see Ricky say these things, and it kind of pushes it into existence.
Well, I wonder who owns the share. Like, I mean, like if they're waiting on Brett, that means that Brett owns the share, right? I mean,
well, I think that, listen, man, you know as well as I do, like, he's in no rush to put Poison back together because he's got to split it 4 ways. If he does these party girl tours, he gets all the cash. Well, not all the cash, but you know what I mean. Like, he makes more money doing his solo stuff than he does Poison. I mean,
that's what Gene Simmons once said.
Yeah,
until he canceled all his tour.
Until he canceled his tours. Brett does solo stuff, when Poison was out on tour, like he would find an off day somewhere and he would do his solo stuff. So I guess when you're a solo guy and then you have to split it 4 ways, maybe you're less likely to push for that reunion. I mean, I don't know. I would think they would make more money being together, but I don't know how that works. But yeah, I don't know who owns that. Maybe they all 4 of them do. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe him.
Well, what about so CC leaves, the other guy comes in, takes his share and Brett's. He's a hired gun, but then CC comes back. Is CC a hired gun? I mean, just kind of look what Kiss did, right? Ace comes back, but he's just really a hired contract guy. It's weird, right? It's a weird business.
It is.
You never know what's structured.
Yeah. I don't really. I don't know them from Adam. These guys can be horrendous people, but I feel like I see them treating CC more kinder than say Ace, and maybe not kinder may not be the right word. They're probably less. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah, where Gene and Paul are super all about business, and Poison may be like, well, he is an original. He's our boy. Like, let's give him. I don't know. That's just me talking out my butt. I don't necessarily know if that's legit.
Yeah. Well, you don't know. I don't know that footage that I had seen when they were with Motley Crue and Def Leppard. I mean, CC looked good, healthy. He was playing. Fantastic. I mean, like it was amazing. I mean, listen, he's always been a really good guitar player, and I think he was always an underrated guitar player because of the glam thing. But he was probably the most musical out of that group. Oh, in that regards, like I mean, his skill level was way higher than the glam type of music. But that's what they were selling. Totally get it. I don't fault him for that. You could tell he was just having a great time. So it's nice to see that. There's an energy,
Listen, you read some of those reviews from that tour. Poison stole every night.
Yeah.
Every night.
Every night.
I mean, that's all anybody ever talked about on that tour was how great Poison was compared to Motley and Def Leppard.
And these guys, what are they? Late 50s, early 60s now? Is that what they are?
They got to be 60, bro. They got to be 60s. They have to be early 60s.
Okay.
Yeah, they have to be.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Man, that's cool. Whatever. I mean, it's all good stuff, you know. Listen, if you can keep kicking it, there's an audience out there, and you take advantage of it.
I mean, why not, dude? I mean, why not?
Why not? I hear you.
You know, why not?
You know, not to keep the poison train going, but like Ricky Rocket had got involved in some other band, or he put together something Mafia or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, everybody's doing their thing. Of course, it's none of that stuff will ever be like Poison in terms of the popularity. Bret Michaels is the face of Poison, right? So like when you see Bret Michaels, you're also getting some Poison too. So I think that's kind of where he's been able to keep that train going. And David Lee Roth has that same thing, but he kind of went nuts in a way. And then there's people who are like, wow, he's kind of wacky. I think he's lost some people there along the way, and I think he's gained some people just to see how wacky he can get.
Yeah, absolutely. He is an odd ball, and I think his oddness became his personality. Like, I think in the beginning it was shtick, but then I think his shtick became his reality. When you're a guy of that kind of fame, and we've said it a million times on the show, you lose all sense of reality. Although I just saw a video of him not too long ago of him bike riding through Taiwan. So, I mean, you know, through the mountains. Was it Thailand or Taiwan? I don't remember. I think it was Taiwan. Like, just riding through the mountains, and I'm just like, this guy, man. But, you know,
I don't think he's lost it, but I think he has this public persona. Because I'm saying to myself, like, if he's like that all the time with people, like regular people, like after a while, somebody go, yo, Dave, let's calm down here, man. Like, I'm ready to take a pen to the back of your head.
Well, listen, man, here's the thing, right? Like, when Van Halen did their last reunion, when it was, you know, with Wolfie, Alex, and Eddie, and Dave, was I think 2016, Dave didn't talk a lot. He didn't do a lot of that shtick. So I'm wondering if they were like, listen, if we're going to do this, you need to put a clamp on that. Like, you can dance and do all your acrobatic things. That's fine. His talking was super minimum. So they may have been like, listen, bro, you need to put a clamp on that mouth. You need to sing these songs and do your little dance, and that's it.
Right.
Or it's not happening.
Yeah.
And Dave could have been like, yes, sir. Like,
yes,
whatever
sir.
it takes.
Whatever it takes.
Whatever. Here's the thing with Poison, right? Like, and I always say this, if everybody is still alive, why are we not doing full band reunions? Obviously, there's a lot of animosity in some bands, and I get that. But when you have 4 guys in Poison, obviously Ricky's had some cancer issues. I know Bret Michaels has stuff going on. He's never said what it was. There's something going on there. He has something. His guitar player has alluded to it. What's his name? Peter, I think. He's taking time off, and that's not like him. So there's something going on. If the 4 originals could get back together and do it. Like, why not? Same thing with Van Halen. I totally respected Eddie wanted Wolfie in the band, but how did we not get Michael Anthony? And now Eddie's gone. Alex don't play. So we'll never see that reunion. For what? I understand he wanted his son, and I get that. But how do you not have Michael Anthony at this reunion? Even if he just came out and did an LA show, or when you get all these bands that have all living members and they can't get it together, it baffles my mind. Because you can make so much money. So much money.
Well, listen, the personality conflict is sometimes greater than the paycheck. They
Absolutely.
just, you know, it's ego. Oh, I don't need to put myself through that, or I'm better than this, or they're nothing without me, that kind of thing.
But when you're at that level, you don't even have to see each other except sound check, VIPs, and when you're on stage. Like, probably 18 hours of the day, you're not with this person. Everybody travels separately now. Everybody's got a way to travel. And we're going to talk about this because it kind of goes with our show today. With Sebastian and Skid Row, I know those guys don't want anything to do with Sebastian, and I get it. My man is a complete nightmare. But on the other hand, he sounds great, and they can make a boatload of money. And I respect them guys. They go, listen, there's no amount of money that would make me do a tour with Sebastian. And I get that, and I respect the hell out of it.
We don't know the inner workings of the whole thing.
No, of course not.
Like, something so bad must have happened.
Right.
That they can't even... I mean, look, if you read the stories of... And here we go. Read the stories of Kiss with Peter and Ace. These guys were able to come back multiple times. Yeah. Right? But if you read the stories... In the late 70s, they all hated each other. They weren't talking at all. But, you know, I'm not sure how true that is, the way it's been described, because I've watched so many old interviews, and I sometimes go past just the interview and I watch the interaction of these guys. Yes, maybe they had some contention, because I think that just happens. But at the same time, they were still getting along. There was laughing, there was this and that.
Yeah.
When you are totally disconnected from somebody, there's nothing. There's nothing at all. So I don't know how bad it really was compared to what it was, because they've been able to bury the hatchet multiple times and then still have problems, but then still talk well about each other and talk bad about each other all at the same time. It's kind of odd. So will something happen ever again with Kiss? Listen, who knows? These guys say one thing, something else. I don't know if they're doing it for the payday, but so how bad are things? When they're that bad, nobody ever goes back, right?
Right.
Roger Waters never went back to Pink Floyd.
Right.
And that would be, I mean, come on. You talk about one of those type of reunions, right? I mean, you know, a lot of this will lead into our conversation. I understand it. I do, even on this level.
It's Ross the Boss.
Take it down.
Johnny D from Britney Fox.
Stephen Pearcy from Rat, the Rat Bastard. You're listening to the Cosmick Voice.
So with that, let's get into the topic of the show. And the topic is, when it rains, it pours. The constant changing of members. When it rains, it pours. The constant changing of members. Now, just side note, we did have an episode similar to this a couple seasons ago. Listen, if you're in a band, it's very rare that it stays consistent for long periods of time. Long periods of time. Especially when the stats are, most bands don't last for more than 5 years. Some bands last even less than that. I don't know, Bud. What do you think? The changing tide of bands.
Here's the thing. I'm just going to put this out there. I think on a national level, on a bigger level with name bands, I think in certain ways losing members does hurt, because you're always going to compare that new person to the person that's gone, especially if they're an original member, that kind of thing. But there's so many bands that are constantly in rotation of members. To me, as being a fan of a band that loses a member, I mean, it stinks. It doesn't really affect me that much. Like, I may be disappointed about it. Now, at the time of recording this, those of you who may not know that do listen to the show, I'm a huge Exodus fan, and Steve Souza is one of my all-time favorite singers. Him being removed from Exodus really bums me out. Exodus is one of my favorite bands, but I'm not a fan of the Dukes era of Exodus, which is the singer that replaced Steve before, and now he's back. Nothing against him. I'm not a fan of what he does, so I probably won't follow Exodus anymore. Like, I probably won't buy any of when the new record comes out, I probably won't buy it. So it does affect me in certain ways, but talking about it at our level, I don't think it hurts the band from a fan perspective. And that's just my opinion, but I feel like it hurts the band because you lose something. And in my current state right now, when we're recording this, in both my bands, I am without members. I'm at a legit standstill. In my one project, Seeds of Perdition, that I've been with for 11 years, we've constantly had a rotation of guys. Constantly. It's been just one of those things. And it hurts. I mean, sometimes it betters the band because you get a fresher person, you get a fresher mind, you get a fresher outlook. But when you lose a connection, you know, it's hard to get back. Sometimes the connections are better, and that's what happens. In my former band, when I was with Blood Feast, I was with them for 10 years also, 10, 11 years. And in the very beginning, it was very rocky. Some of our members were kind of iffy, and, you know, not to get into the forest, but 2 guys were removed, then we brought 2 new guys in, then that drummer was removed. But in the last 5 years, I'll say, well, I haven't been in the band since 21. You know, from 20 to say 16, 15, the five of us at the time were a well-oiled machine, and we just clicked. Everything we did was a click, man. We were a force to be reckoned with when it was the five of us. And you lose that, when you lose guys like that, you just do. And like I said, even in Seeds of Perdition, we've lost guys, we've gained better people, better players, better outlooks. It's just never going to be the same for whatever reason, whether it's going to be better or worse. So on our level, I think that the constant change of members is hard on us because we can never gain traction. Especially at our level, you're moving forward, and then stop. And then you're going backwards. In my newest project, Execution Order, we've been through 3 drummers in the 3 years we've been together. We work hard, we play harder. Some people can't commit to that. Some people can't hang with that. And I'm not patting ourselves on the back by any means. I just know that the people that we've brought in, it just has never clicked. Just never clicked. And we just never found that right person. And in Seeds of Perdition, we would always find someone. There just was always something. And then we got the original lineup back. And for those handful of years when it was the 5 of us, so the original 5, when 2 guys came back to the fold, again, we were unstoppable. We just all clicked. We all gelled. Some of the stuff that we recorded and wrote was probably some of the best stuff we've ever written together. It's how it is, man. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But at our level, I feel like losing band members, and I know you guys too, and I know I'm not speaking out of term. You and I have been through so many band members in our time, even since you and I have been doing this show. It's a tough thing. It's definitely something that is hard to move past, and the hopes that you find a new member that's either going to be better for the project, better for the mental state of the band, but there's always a little bit of heartbreak, and there's always a little bit of a rough terrain when you lose somebody at our level. Now, at a bigger level, nationals, sure. I mean, that hurts too. I just don't know how many people are affected, especially at the top level, because they could always they could lose somebody today and they'll have a replacement in tomorrow. Like, it just, at that level, it's just how it is, because they have more resources, they know more people would love to jump in those spots. Where at our level, it's tough because we don't have those resources, right? We don't have, especially now in 2025, when I was with Blood Feast, I would drive, to rehearsal once or twice a week. I would drive almost an hour and a half up and back. So when I would rehearse, it would be, if I rehearsed on a weekend, it's a whole day. I drive an hour and a half, we'd be there for 4 hours, whatever it was, and an hour and a half home. So it's hard to find people that commit to that. I know you're very lucky in that because you have 2 guys that live very far away from your studio. So that's hard to find that commitment. So when we lose people, we are confined to a certain area to find people, unless you find someone that's committed and willing to travel and do the work. Obviously a lot of commitment can come from home studios now, but you need that cohesive unit of working and playing together. So you need someone that's committed, and that's harder. It's getting harder to find now in 2025 than it was, 6-7 years ago. But that's how I feel. I feel if you're at a national level and you lose people in your band, I feel like, I don't necessarily know how much that affects your crowd per se, but it's easier to find someone that you can replace and make a connection with, where at our level it hurts because it really messes up our dynamic, and it's harder to find people to put in those positions.
With the national levels, right, people that are more popular, I mean, yeah, they have the resources, like the pool of musicians they can pick from, but what goes in their favor is there's a paycheck or some level of paycheck.
Oh, yeah, that too, yeah.
Right, and that really helps. At our level, there is no such thing as a paycheck. And
right.
In my case, we invest the money right back into the band. No one is paid. We invest the money back into the band that the band makes as a whole, and that means, music sales, merch sales, show pay, so on and so forth, so that we can fund everything that we do, so that we are not asking individual members to pull from pockets, which, I have done that for years as well. I mean, I've been involved in plenty of projects. I think what happens is when a band starts, everybody's in equal level, kind of, per se, right? Mm-hmm. There's always a hierarchy within a band, and that exists organically, and sometimes it's engineered, depending on who puts the band together. When we were all younger, it was all organic, right? The stronger personality became kind of the leader, in a sense. So, everybody's kind of starting out at ground zero, first floor, and we're building it together. And when that changes, things are looked at differently. Again, at the higher level, like we talked about, like with, say, Kiss or Skid Row or whatever the band may be, the new person that comes in, technically at that level, becomes a hired gun. Now they're a contract player. They're not an original member, so they don't get the same treatment, right? They don't get the same agreement. They don't get the same perks. There are guys that I've read stories about that over time they were kind of like an attorney's office. Like over time, you can become a full partner. Like, you got to put your time in, things of that nature. Totally understand that. And again, that's a case-by-case basis. But for the bands at our level, again, like the guy comes in, but then there's always that dividing line. Well, you're not really an original guy. You weren't here from the beginning. And you're right. The dynamic changes massively, massively. I've experienced it more times than I like to even remember or even recall. And it's been tough. So just to put this into perspective, this episode was not on our original list of episodes for the season. This was prompted by some stuff that you and I had been talking about by seeing some things in our social media platforms, some people that we kind of know on the peripheral. And it's always shocking when these separations happen, the amount of spewing that goes on with social media. I don't know how it was years ago, because, we didn't have it. A guy left, maybe there was some backroom talk, and then the gossip happens, but then that's usually about it that I remember, right? Unless you're out to get somebody for whatever reason. And there was always those guys too.
Well, of course.
But like now it's like everybody has to wear this badge and, hey, I bought the t-shirt, and give your reasons. Hey, listen, if you left, you left. You don't have to come up with stories. And is the story to sell it to the band that you walked away from to join this other band and now you're going back to? Is it to, save face? Is it to make it look like you're not just an idiot? The thing is these things happen. For everybody to click, it's a rarity. Right? And it's short-lived. You had mentioned quickly in passing as you were talking about it that commitment level is very difficult to get with people.
Yeah.
Especially if they're not there from the beginning and they don't get the culture. And when you get replacement players, you got guys that are coming in expecting to be paid or expecting this or that, the other thing, for whatever reason. It could be personality because this is what they experienced before or not. And then, like, hey, that's not how this works, or, you have to do this to get this, or, whatever. And a lot of people aren't prepared for that. They want to just play. They want to get up. A lot of people want to play rock star. They don't want to put the time in.
Right.
Like I said, my band, unfortunately, has gone through a number of members here and there. We were able to keep a core for many, many years. We went through a drummer change, but we've had the same drummer now for 10 years. He's actually been in the band longer than the original drummer. Right. We've recently, made a change with the bass player. Recently, in the last 2 years, simply because our long-term bass player decided to retire. Finding a suitable replacement, someone who has the same level of dedication, well, I'll be honest with you, it's been difficult because times change. Guys our age aren't really doing this. Or they have such stipulation to their joining that it's like, well, how about you just stay home? It's a lot easier. You stay home and I'll do what I'm doing. And then we'll just leave it at there. I have definitely seen that younger musicians have a whole different way of going about things. Everything from start to finish. And being an old head, sometimes that's difficult to swallow. Because it's like, hey, that's not how this is done. Like, I don't care how much the industry has changed. There are still some things that are still the same. Like integrity and character and professionalism. That stuff doesn't change. I don't care what anybody says. And a lot of that is lacking. Listen, I don't need to be friends with everybody. And I've learned that in the last 5 years or so. I would prefer it. I prefer that there is a brotherhood. It makes writing and being together for long periods of time a lot easier. But I've learned also that it's not a necessity. That doesn't mean that you're not respectful, doesn't mean that you're not cordial, and you have manners, and you're polite, and you're kind, and you can joke around, stuff like that, but we don't have to be the deepest of friends. And as time goes on in your life, you find that that's not going to be the case with most people. And, you know, at times it's still difficult for me. But so the promise is that I often hear that people go, oh, they promised me this and they promised me that, and I joined this band believing that this was going to happen. Listen, that's foolhardy. You're either delusional, Mr. Roth, or you're just still green and you're believing, you know, that MTV hype. This is the land of broken dreams. This is the land of constantly 1 step forward, 8 steps back. Like, there's the hope of the dream that fuels many of us. I mean, I don't think a lot of bands, especially at our level, go in with the idea that, oh, I'm just going to... Listen, there are, so I'm not saying that there isn't. But most bands don't go in with the idea that, oh, I'm just going to, you know, make this stuff up for people so they can buy on to the train. I think bands believe that, like, their hope is, hey, we're going to do this tour, we're going to get on this, we're going to do that. You have this plan of action, because if you don't have a plan of action, what are you doing? You're just a garage band playing whenever you can. That's okay, too, if that's what you choose. But this show's about artists that are pushing the envelope, trying to get to that next level, do something more, because that's what you and I have done most of our career. Actually, that's what I've done my entire career. I've never just played this as a, hey, I'm a garage band. Even when I was a garage band, I was trying to be the next band. Do you know what I'm saying? So I never kept that mentality because I know this was just a starting point. You know, I want to be someplace else. So, yeah, a lot of bands have that aspiration, and it may sound like promises, but in essence, like, you got to take some of that with a grain of salt. So to come back after you left one band to join another, to just go back to that band, and then have, oh, they made these promises, and I knew something was wrong from the beginning. And, well, if you knew something was wrong from the beginning, you didn't make the choice then to get up and go. Why did you stay? Right. Because you were thinking with your ego. You joined a band because you were presented with the possibility that, oh, this is going to be big. And you quickly jump ship someplace else. And this happens all the time with bands. All the time with bands. They jump ship because they think the grass is greener. And maybe sometimes it is. Listen, there's plenty of stories these guys are plucked out and brought into bands. Right? Jeff LaBar taken out of Precious Metal to go join Cinderella. Makes sense? It's just like your employment. You step up the ladder. That's what you're trying to do. If you're playing that path to stardom or to rock star or whatever, or just a higher paying gig. We don't always want to move lateral, we want to move vertical, but at times moving lateral could help us then move vertical somewhere else, right? Laterally, that band could be better in terms of, okay, they got a more booked schedule. They're playing just as much as we are, but they're playing better shows. Or they have one member that seems to be a little bit more brand savvy, whatever. I'm just saying, you know, where, say, you know, all of a sudden I go from Corners of Sanctuary to all of a sudden I'm playing with Judas Priest. Hey, well, there you go, man, right?
Right.
There's something there. I mean, and that happens all the time. Well, maybe not all the time like it used to, but we've read plenty of stories. I mean, Tim Ripper Owens went from a Judas Priest cover band to playing in Judas Priest. Well, there you have it. So I guess, you know,
right.
That is definitely it could be looked at as a lateral move. I went from playing Judas Priest here to playing in Judas Priest, but that's also a vertical move.
You are listening to the Cosmick Voice with your hosts, Chris Natalini and Mick Michaels.
Playing in the band and making music is a crapshoot, man. It's a crapshoot.
It is, man.
You got a better shot at becoming a bus driver and getting a fantastic pension after 15 years than you do ever making anything of yourself as being a musician. And I've been doing it since I was 13. And here I am doing a podcast. I'm on the decline. Like, I'm ready. Lights out. Show's over. Go home, people. Actually, somebody should be saying, Mick, just go home, will you, bud?
Go.
We'll call you the cab. We'll pay for it. We know you don't have any money. Just go home. Leave us alone.
Just go. It's a tough thing at our level when you lose guys. I mean, listen, I've had guys come into my bands and I go, like, I can make promises. I can write a check that my ass can cash. Because of the connections that I've made over the years, I go, listen, if you're going to join this band, I can get you this. I can get you here. I mean, I'm not talking about making millions of dollars, but like things that it would be cool to be able to say you did, right?
Yeah.
And them guys still don't stick around. It's so crazy to me, this level of, especially with us, like at our level, there's constantly people in and out of bands. It's constant. I don't understand the thought process of, you know, we're all striving for something to be great, right? We're all trying for this success, whatever you think it's going to be. And I understand doing things to better your career, your passion, whatever you want it to be. But there also has to be some reality in that too. Like, you have to understand that this isn't easy. It's just not going to fall in your lap. Like, it's got to be, there has to be some other things. You don't just walk into a band and you're taking off. It doesn't work like that. And to think that people still have that mentality, it's crazy to me. People think they can just walk into a band and it's just going to be easy is amazing. Now, I will say, when you get a new member, the one thing I'm very cautious of, or not cautious of, but aware of, is when you're in a band with the same people for so long, and then you bring somebody new in, and I just had it with my last drummer. When he first joined, him and I had this conversation. He felt a little left out. Now, that is not the ultimate reason why he left, but in the very, very beginning, he felt left out because when we would be together, the three of us have such a long history together, not even playing together. We have a long history of friendship. So when you bring in another guy that's kind of on the outside, you don't realize how much some people can feel left out because you're talking about, oh, remember when we did this and oh, we did this. So, I mean, that's a thing too, right? Like, you have to understand that some of these people are coming from the outside, so you have to make sure that you include them in that history that you have. And that's one thing that I always felt like I tried to do. And then, you know, like I'd said, my drummer would come to me in the very beginning. It was like, you know, I'm kind of feeling this way. And I go, oh my God, like, that's not how this goes. It's just that we, you know, have this history. So we sat down and we were like, you know, it's not like we're not leaving you out, and we just have this history. And so, you know, we kind of had to bring him up to speed and realize where his thought process was. And once we had that conversation, everything was fine. I just feel like he was feeling a little insecure about his position in the band, and ultimately he ended up leaving anyway. So there is a lot of pressures coming with bringing someone new in on your side of it and their side of it. And you just kind of have to find that happy medium, especially if the person doesn't have the best self-confidence in themselves. And that's a real thing too.
I've always been as transparent as I possibly could.
Me too.
Like, hey, this is what we need. This is what we're, you know, in our case, with all our new members that have come and gone, they've joined a ship that's already been moving forward, right?
Right.
And I'm not saying that, hey, oh, we're the best. That's not what I'm trying to say. It's just that we were a working band that stayed pretty busy for a number of years. And that's one of the reasons having new members come in, why they leave, because everybody will go, they'll yes you to death. Everybody's an expert until they're in the mix. And this person was in the band only just a short time. I mean, by a short time, I mean just a couple weeks, was already giving me crap about, well, you know, what about my songs? What about my songs? I says, listen, we'll definitely work into that. I go, I don't have a problem with it. I go, but one, I need you to learn our songs. I need to get into the groove. I go, and just, you know, just for the sake of it, I need you to put in just a little bit of time with us. We'll make it happen. I go, I'm happy to do that. I mean, it's not a problem at all. That was always a point of contention for a short period of time. And it was like, oh man, it just, but at the same time, guess what? Never learned in our songs completely.
Right.
I found that with a multitude of artists that, or musicians that came in. It's like, they get it just enough. And then there's never like, hey, can we get past this? Or say, stay, you know, and then when you go talk to them or you bring it up, you're the bad guy. It's like, well, wait a minute.
Of course.
Like, like you're doing me a favor. And sometimes you feel that. It's like, well, because if I don't have this person, then I can't do what I need to do, and so on and so forth. And I dealt with a lot of that. And it puts me in a bad place, and, and then that's just not good either. And so then there's, whatever. But people go, well, you've had so many members, there's always a problem, and it must be you. And yeah, it probably is. I mean, I've admitted that.
Yep.
I'm not easy to work with. It's not like I'm a dictator or, something of that nature, but I stick to a schedule. I expect certain things from you and myself all the time. I mean, I'm constantly ragging on myself about certain things. So I expect that in return. But at the same time, I also do a lot more. And there's things I don't expect from you. What I do expect from you is know the songs, show up to the gigs, don't give me a hard time. Do what your role is supposed to do. If I need you to do more, I will talk to you about it. If not, chances are you're just kind of riding the train. It's no secret, again, if you ever did follow my band. I don't even follow my band anymore. I don't want to hear about it. Frankie, to me, is the voice of my band. Okay?
Of course.
Frankie's been in and out of the band more times than Kevin Kline in and out was. You talk about like having that click. Frankie was out of the band 7 months one time. He comes back to fill in. We didn't even rehearse. We're up in northern Jersey playing with comedian Don Jamieson. It's like we had never parted.
Never stopped.
And this is the magic. And you never have that elsewhere. You have to work at it. It sounds good, but man, it's just not the same click.
Yeah.
But a lot of the guys that we had come in, they just weren't prepared to work. Like I said, a lot of people like to play rock star. They want to walk around thinking they're this, that, and the other thing. And that's cool and all, I guess. But at the end of the day, if the music doesn't sound good, it doesn't seem to work. The truth is you have to be able to work together on some level. You don't have to be best buds. You don't have to eat the same food. Like, I don't care what a political stance is and all that. If we're making music and it's working, it's on stage. I mean, I've had players, like, on stage, it's great. Off stage, they're all jammed up. They got a problem that I eat hamburgers and they don't, or, whatever my religious persuasion may or may not be. I shouldn't even say religious. I should say my faith persuasion. And that becomes a point of contention. It's like, well, no. I mean, I've had a singer, we did a great tour, New England tour. He comes off the tour, I can't do this. Like, he couldn't tour. It just made him the level of intensity that you're just, from one gig to the other, to maybe doing an interview, you're in and out of a hotel and you're set up. It just was too much. And the guy was definitely younger, and he just couldn't hang 10 with the old guys. I've had people where the color of their hair was more important than the quality of their vocals. And you talk about offering some level of payment or whatever. It's like, I've offered people, hey, listen, we're going overseas. You don't have to pay for anything, or, whatever. Everybody that loves to talk the lip service, when you give them the opportunity, most people pull away from it because the level of 100%. Commitment and what's involved is not good.
Yep. 100%. I also feel that some people, when they join a band, they go, listen, man, it's just a band. Like, we're just making music. Like, it's not,
right.
I don't need to work that hard. I don't need to put that much commitment in, because, this isn't I have work, I have family.
Yes.
And yeah, of course. But when you're here, you need to work. Like, I listen, again, I know that, at times certain people in my band, me included, we may be a little much because we want to work hard. We want it to be good. We want everybody to be as committed as we are. That, fair or not, if you're going to be in the band, at least give us the time that we deserve. Right. Like, I understand that you have things and lives, and I get all that, especially now that we're older. I understand that we're not looking to make millions. We're not going to tour the world, but at least commit to the band the way you would commit to other things. It's not just a band. It's, this is a passion. It's not, I'm sorry, playing music is not a hobby. I don't care what anybody says.
Exactly.
It's a passion. And some people look at it as a hobby, and that's not it. You want to make music a hobby, that's fine. You're hanging with the wrong crowd, because it's not what we do. I mean, listen, that's why there's a lot of cover and tribute bands, right? Because these guys can't find musicians to play, but they just want to play. So they just join other musicians that are just playing the hottest thing, but they want to play, and that's their way of getting the play out. It's the same thing with us. We just don't play covers. So, that commitment is there. Just give us that commitment. It's the only thing we ever ask.
Absolutely. I just recently had something similar. Let's be honest, it's a hobby. I says, no, man. I says, for me, it's not a hobby. It's not a hobby. I go, to me, you saying that is an insult to me. I mean, 100%. Here's the thing. Do I make millions of dollars? No. But believe it or not, this brand does make some money. So hobbies don't make money.
That's right.
Okay?
That's right.
That doesn't mean that if you're not making money, that it's a hobby. I'm not saying that. But my point is I'm past that stage. I'm not 16 anymore. I'm way past the hobby stage. Because at this age, a hobby for me is sitting on my rear end and turning Netflix on. And I don't even get to do that often. So I'm looking forward to starting that hobby full time. All right? So this isn't a hobby. I don't travel to Europe to play in a band 10 shows in a row as a hobby. That ain't no hobby. I don't go overseas, and I don't that's not a hobby to me. Believe me, there's far greater things that I would want a hobby on, right? So, if anything, if this brand is making some level of money, I don't care what it is. If it's $10, $100, $100,000, now all of a sudden that becomes a part-time job. If you're doing other things, if you're doing all of this, well, then it's a full-time job. However you choose to make your money, that's what it means. So you cannot discuss. Hobby bands don't get songs charted.
That's right.
Okay? Hobby bands don't play large venues. I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. Of course it happens. There's bands, there's enough of them.
Yeah.
But I'm saying is they don't book major tours. They don't leave their area. Hobby bands do not play out of their area.
That's right. That's
okay?
right.
They don't take it to the road. A hobby guitar player is a guy that has them all hanging up in a room, like literally hanging up so he can just pick them. Now, a working guitar player has them all in different cases ready to go out the door. This one's ready to go. Or he has stuff on the repair table because he's getting it set up for the next show.
That's right.
That kind of thing.
100%, man. 100%.
I don't know. Maybe I'm talking a little bit or whatever. But
I totally agree. I totally agree with that.
There is a different mentality, and if you're new at it, everybody wants to promise the world, but it doesn't happen that way. And you can't be shocked when you go, oh my God, I can't believe that I played in a club with 2 people, and that was the drummer and the bass player. Yeah, well, listen, welcome to the... I have spoken to major recording artists that were playing arenas at the time of the late 80s, early 90s, and when the bottom dropped out, these guys went from playing arenas to bar and grills the year later.
Yep.
With an album on a major label. If that's happening there or happened there, what do you think's happening at the local levels?
Yeah.
Like, if you listen to our show this season, we've talked about it a lot. Like, there is that comparison. If it's happening here, why wouldn't it happen down here, just at a different capacity?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's the land of broken dreams, man. But like you said, there's a level of passion. To wrap this up, in my opinion, you just got to be transparent. Yep. It's very rare, especially bands don't last 3 to 5 years. You know it. The bands that do, that are still playing, they've probably gone through member changes, may have some younger people than they originally did, and to keep their gears moving, they're probably only doing a handful of shows. They stay local, whatever. That's longevity. Yeah. Because it's become this. For the bands that keep striving, well, man, you got to do what you got to do. The guys on the inside, that core group. Yeah. It's a scary proposition every time you got to change a member, whether it's by choice or by surprise. Sometimes it's a combination. And you know it's coming, you're just not sure when it's coming. Yep. And with most of us, we hold on for as long as we can to keep the machine moving, because we know when the machine stops, it's so hard to get started again. What do you think, bud? You got anything else you want to add?
No, man, that's it, dude. That is it.
Listen, just keep swinging till some other members go down. If you like that episode, check out some of our other episodes at www.thecosmickvoice.com. Step into the Cosmickverse, put your bandana on, and fill that void. Thanks so much for listening. This is the Cosmick Voice. If you have a question, a topic idea, or something you want us to address, just contact us through our Facebook page at The Cosmick Voice. You can listen to The Cosmick Voice at Spotify, Breaker, Apple, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, and at thecosmickview.com. Check us out on Facebook at The Cosmick Voice.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for us. If you're hearing this message, you've listened to the entire episode. And for that, Mick and I would like to thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And we hope you enjoyed this new episode. And if you did, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, feel free to let us know what topics you'd like to see covered in future episodes of The Cosmick Voice. And you can get in touch with us through thecosmickvoice.com and, of course, all of the Cosmick Voice social medias. Take care and be safe.
You're listening to The Cosmick Voice. Music, talk, and nothing but business.